It is Monday, the 22nd of June, the beginning of week 8 for us on our travels. And it is hot. It is very hot. 37.5 degrees according to the van. After leaving the monastery last night, we have continued west, pushing away from the coast, pushing away from the Côte d'Azur. We've had enough of that. Too busy. Too many people, too many cars, too much development. Last night we stayed at an aide-de-camping-car. In fact, it's one we'd stayed at previously when we returned from Corsica back to the mainland, heading north out to Toulon. This time we're heading west, so our paths crossed. Today was a late start and we are pushing northwesterly now, up in the general direction of Mont Ventoux. Or Mont Ventoux, just as a target. We probably won't get there tonight. In fact, we won't get there tonight. And as we were driving along, we've come across this beautiful little town. I have no idea what it's called. So we're having some lunch in the van, in some shade, albeit still very hot, and then we'll go and check out the little town. I shall bleep out the expletive. But me, it's hot. Karen thought she'd sniffed out a Lavoir, but it is not. It is just a elaborate fountain. And these three characters all look like they're throwing up. It is, of course, extremely pretty, and it does, of course, have the usual selection of bars and cafes and very expensive gifty shops. Even though it is one of France's most beautiful villages, cars are still allowed. I think we can forgive the classic Renault 4 GTL, no less. And right on top of the village, not a part of the church, is a bell tower and clock. Check out the bees on the shutters. Fountains, there are plenty, and apparently, according to Karen, there are fish. Let's go and have a look. And there we go. Some goldfish in the village fountain. We have a temporary respite from the heat with Pistoleros.
Pistolero.
The respite from the heat as provided by the Pistoleros was only short-lived.
Because Mark dropped his on the floor.
Yep, half of mine went on the floor. So we're back in the van, time to start the engine up and get the aircon back on to cool down. I don't know what it is out there, probably pushing 38. Next stop, campsite with the pool. I think that's number 1 on the priority list. Tuesday, the 23rd of June, and we are just outside the village of Bonnieux. Yesterday, after our little visit to Lourmarin, we carried on northwest in the general direction of Mont Ventoux. And on the way, we found this cracking little campsite just outside the village. We're going to be here for a couple of nights. Bit of time off from driving, as we've been driving for the past 3 days. And right now, we're going to go up in the searing heat, high 30s, to check out the village.
Still here.
When we arrived here last night, and by here I mean the campsite, which is nestled in this little valley off to my left, it did look like thunderstorms. There was an angry cloud up in the sky, but alas, no thunderstorms. So it was a hot evening. although the valley is sheltered both in the evening and in the mornings because it's quite tight and faces north. We think it's about a 15-minute walk into the village. Well, we hope it is, because any more than that and we are going to melt. You can probably hear the cicadas in the background. They've been a thing for the past few days. Although Bonnieux, the village we are walking up to, is not one of the les plus beaux villages de France, it's still gorgeous as we drove through it last night. Undeveloped, which is how we like them. The obvious downside with these hilltop villages is that they are on a hilltop, which means a climb in the high 30s temperatures. We're off to a good start. We have a Lavoir almost as soon as we enter the village. It's made my day. According to Wiki, the village dates back to Roman times, and somewhere down in that valley below there are Roman artifacts, including an old Roman bridge. That's 3 miles away. We're not walking that far today. Maybe tomorrow we're going to look at it in the van. The village also has 3 Michelin-starred restaurants, which, given its size, is apparently a remarkable achievement. Suffice to say that with my culinary tastes, we won't be visiting any of those 3. And the adjacent forest over there is a cedar forest. Apparently, the cedar tree has been imported from Africa in Napoleonic times. It is surprisingly cool as we walk the streets today, or the alleys I should say, for they are very narrow, but completely in the shade. As well as the amazing views over the church and the valley beyond, we can see Mont Ventoux on the horizon. We'll probably be heading that way tomorrow. We have reached the church at the top of the village. So it's back down now and maybe some cold drink somewhere. This is Lavoir number 3. This place is rammed with Lavoirs.